Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Learn English Through Stories. I am very happy you are here today. Before we begin, I want to ask you something. Do you remember David? David is our friend. In our last story, David was too afraid to order coffee. He walked past the same coffee shop every single morning for 1 month. And then, one Saturday, he finally opened the door. He spoke English, and it changed something inside him. Today, David's story continues. And today, the challenge is much bigger. Today, David has a job interview. Are you ready to listen? Then let's begin. It was a Tuesday evening. David was sitting at his small desk at home. He was eating a bowl of noodles and reading the news on his laptop. Then his phone made a sound. A notification. He picked up his phone. It was an email. The subject line said, "Interview invitation, junior office assistant, Greenbridge Company." David read the email 3 times. Then he put down his phone. Then he picked it up and read it again. "They want to interview me," he whispered. David had applied for 12 jobs in the past 3 weeks. He found the jobs on a website. He wrote cover letters in English. He checked them many times. He used a dictionary. He changed words. He checked again. And now, one company had replied. Greenbridge Company. They wanted to meet him. The interview was on Friday morning. That was 3 days away. 3 days, David said to himself. I have 3 days. David should have felt happy, but he did not feel happy. He felt afraid, because this was not ordering a coffee. This was not saying good morning to a neighbor. This was a real job interview, in English, with real people who would ask him real questions. And if he made mistakes, if he could not speak properly, if his mind went blank, he would not get the job. David lay down on his bed. He stared at the ceiling. What if I don't understand their questions? He thought. What if I forget the words? What if my accent is too strong? What if they think I am not good enough? The fear was back, bigger than ever. But David did not give up. He remembered the coffee shop. He remembered how afraid he was that morning. He remembered how he almost walked past the door. And he remembered how he felt when he walked out with his coffee. Fear is normal, David said to himself. But I cannot let fear stop me. So David made a plan. He had 3 days. He would use every minute. On Wednesday, David searched online for common interview questions. He found a list. He wrote them down in his notebook. The questions were, tell me about yourself. Why do you want this job? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? David read these questions slowly. He translated them in his mind. He understood them. Good. But understanding a question and answering a question are 2 very different things. David started to write his answers. Simple answers. Not long. Not complicated. He did not try to use big words. He used words he already knew. For tell me about yourself, he wrote. My name is David. I am from a small town. I moved to this city 2 months ago. I have 3 years of experience working in an office. I am a hard worker and I am good with computers. I want to grow and learn in a good company. He practiced this answer 50 times in front of the mirror, while walking, while cooking dinner, while lying in bed. 50 times, then 100 times. On Thursday, David did something new. He found YouTube videos of job interviews in English. He watched them 3 times. He listened to how people spoke. He noticed the phrases they used. He copied them. He also asked his phone's voice assistant questions. Then he answered them out loud. The voice assistant didn't judge him. It didn't care about his accent. It just listened. That evening, David's friend called him. His friend's name was Marco. Marco had lived in the city for 5 years. His English was much better than David's. "David, do you want to practice the interview with me?" Marco asked. David said yes. For 1 hour, Marco pretended to be the interviewer. He asked David the questions. David answered them. Sometimes David forgot a word. Marco guatit paciently. Sometimes David used the wrong grammar. Marco gently corrected him. Sometimes David's answer was too short. Marco helped him make it longer. By the end of the call, David felt a little better. Not perfect, but better. "You are ready, David," Marco said. "Just be yourself. Speak slowly. And breathe." "Breathe," David repeated. "I will try to remember that." Friday morning arrived. David did not sleep well. He woke up before his alarm. He lay in bed and stared at the ceiling for 20 minutes. His stomach felt strange. His hands felt cold. His heart was already beating a little fast. But he got up. He got dressed. He chose his best shirt. He ironed it carefully. He put on his dark trousers. He looked at himself in the mirror. "You are ready," he said to his reflection. "You have prepared. You know your answers. You can do this." David made tea. He sat at the kitchen table. He read his notes one more time. He did not read them because he had forgotten. He read them because it made him feel calmer, like an athlete stretching before a race. The preparation was done. He just needed to feel confident. He drank his tea. He took deep breaths, in through the nose, out through the mouth. "I know my answers," he said softly. "I speak slowly. I breathe." The Greenbridge Company office was a 30-minute walk from David's apartment. David left 45 minutes early. He walked slowly. He looked at the city around him. He noticed the trees. He noticed a dog sitting by a cafe door. He noticed 2 children running to school. He breathed. He thought about the coffee shop. He thought about the moment he opened that door for the first time. Every door is the same, David thought. Every door is just a door. You open it and step through. David arrived at the building. It was tall and modern. There were large glass doors. Through the glass, he could see a reception desk and a woman sitting behind it. He stood outside for a moment. He took one deep breath. Then he walked in. "Good morning," David said. "My name is David. I have an interview at 9 o'clock. The receptionist smiled. "Good morning, David. Welcome to Greenbridge. Please take a seat. Someone will come for you in a few minutes." "Thank you," David said. He understood every single word. His English worked. He smiled a small, private smile to himself. David sat in the waiting area. There were 2 other people waiting. They were also there for interviews. David could tell because they were dressed formally, like him. They held folders. They were reading notes on their phones. David looked at them. He wondered if they were afraid, too. He thought, probably yes. Fear before an interview is normal. Fear does not mean you are weak. Fear means you care. He sat straight. He breathed slowly. He waited. After 8 minutes, a woman came out a corridor. She looked at David. "David?" she said. "Yes," David said. He stood up. "I'm Sarah," she said. "Thank you for coming today. Please follow me." They walked down a corridor. David noticed the walls. He noticed the plants. He noticed the sound of his own footsteps. He was trying to stay calm. They entered a room. There were two people sitting at a long table, a man and a woman. They both smiled when David came in. "David, please sit down," the man said. "I'm James, the hiring manager, and this is Lisa from our HR team." "Nice to meet you both," David said. He sat down. His heart was beating fast, but his voice was steady. That surprised him. "So, David," James said, "let's start with an easy one. Tell me about yourself." This was the first question. David had practiced this question 100 times. He took one small breath, and then he spoke. "My name is David. I am originally from a small town, but I moved to this city 2 months ago. I have 3 years of experience working in an office environment. I am good with computers, and I enjoy organizing information and solving problems. I'm looking for a company where I can grow and contribute." He finished. He looked at James. James was nodding. "Good," James said. "Thank you, David." David exhaled slowly. The first answer was done. The interview continued. Lisa asked, "Why do you want to work at Greenbridge?" David answered, "I researched your company. I like that Greenbridge works with small businesses and helps them grow. I believe I can contribute to that work because I am organized and I pay attention to details." James asked, "What is your biggest strength?" David answered, "I'm a very hard worker. When I start something, I finish it. I do not give up easily." Lisa asked, "And what is a weakness you are working on?" David paused here. This was a tricky question, but he had prepared for it. "Sometimes I worry too much about making mistakes," David said honestly. "But I am learning to take action even when I am not 100% sure. I think this is an important skill." Lisa wrote something in her notebook. David could not see what she wrote. He hoped it was something good. Then James asked a question that David did not expect. "David, can you describe a time when you had to deal with a difficult colleague at work? What did you do, and what was the outcome?" David heard the question. He understood most of the words, but his mind suddenly felt empty. He had not prepared this answer. For 2 seconds, there was silence in the room. David felt the fear rise up, that familiar feeling, the cold hands, the fast heartbeat. But then he remembered something Marco had told him during their practice session. If you don't understand a question, or if you need a moment, it is perfectly okay to say so. It shows confidence, not weakness. David said, "That is a great question. May I have just a moment to think about it?" James smiled. "Of course. Take your time." David breathed. He thought about his last job. He remembered a colleague who was often late with his work. This caused problems for the whole team. "Yes," David said. "In my previous job, I worked with a colleague who was often late finishing his tasks. This affected our team's results. I did not want to create conflict, so I had a private conversation with him. I asked if there was something I could help him with. I learned that he had some personal difficulties at that time. After our conversation, we found a way to divide the work differently. The situation improved. Both interviewers were nodding now. That is a very mature answer, David, Lisa said. David felt something loosen inside his chest. He had done it. He had faced the unexpected question. He had asked for a moment. He had found the answer. And they liked it. This was better than he had hoped. The interview lasted 35 minutes. At the end, James said, "Thank you so much for coming in today, David. We will contact you within 5 business days with our decision." "Thank you both," David said. "It was a pleasure to meet you. I enjoyed learning more about Greenbridge." He shook both their hands. His hands were warm now, not cold like before. David walked out of the building. The morning sun was still bright. He stood on the pavement and looked up at the sky. He breathed in the fresh air. He did not know if he would get the job. He did not know what James and Lisa had written in their notes. He did not know the outcome yet. But he knew one thing. He had sat in that room. He had spoken in English for 35 minutes. He had answered difficult questions. He had made one mistake. No, not a mistake. He had faced an unexpected question, and he had handled it. He walked to the coffee shop. His coffee shop. He ordered as usual. "1 coffee, please. Medium size." The barista smiled. She remembered him now. He was becoming a regular. David sat at his window table. He held the warm cup. He looked out at the street. He thought about the man who was too afraid to come inside this coffee shop 1 month ago. That man felt so far away now. David learned something important from the interview. He learned that preparation is powerful. Practice makes the fear smaller. He learned that it is okay to pause. It is okay to say, "I have a moment to think." Smart people do this. Confident people do this. He learned that mistakes do not end conversations. They're just moments. You can always continue. And he learned something that nobody had ever taught him in an English class. He learned that speaking a language is not about being correct. It is about being present. It is about trying. It is about showing up. My friend, that is the story of David's job interview. Maybe you have never had a job interview in English. Or maybe you have, and you know exactly how David felt. Either way, I want to ask you something. What is the interview in your life? What is the room you are afraid to walk into? Whatever it is, you are more ready than you think. Because you are here. You are practicing. You are growing. Today was day 2 of David's journey. And today was another day of yours. If this story helped you, please like this video and subscribe to learn English through stories. David's story continues tomorrow. I will see you then. Keep practicing. Keep speaking. And remember, just breathe. Goodbye, everyone.